Hello there, welcome to your next math lesson. Please open up your math notebook to the next available page. And at the top of that page, I want you to make a T-chart. It looks like this, okay? Because today's lesson is about dividing unit fractions by whole numbers. And yesterday's lesson was about dividing whole numbers by unit fractions. So I want to make sure we keep these two things separate because they're so similar that it's easy to get them mixed up and make mistakes. So today's lesson is about divide unit fractions by whole numbers. And yesterday's lesson was about dividing whole numbers by unit fractions. Do you see the difference? Yesterday we were dividing whole numbers by fractions. Today we're dividing fractions by whole numbers. So I want to make sure you understand the difference. So I'm going to put two problems side by side, and they're going to look very similar, but they're actually the opposite of each other. So in yesterday's lesson, we did something like this: 6 divided by 1/3. A whole number divided by a fraction. So in yesterday's lesson, the whole number was the dividend and the fraction was the divisor. In today's lesson, we're dividing fractions. Oops, I put the wrong fraction there. I'm trying to make it be the same one as this one. We're dividing fractions by whole numbers. So in today's lesson, the fraction is the dividend and the whole number is the divisor. Now you actually do these with the same steps. So the first step is you give the whole number a denominator of 1. So we give 6 a whole number here, and we also give 6 a whole number here. Okay, and the second step is you flip the sign and the second fraction. So to flip the sign, we change this from division to multiplication, and we flip the second fraction. So 1/3 becomes 3/1. Now, here we flip the sign and the second fraction too. So you flip this fraction. So we flip the sign, we flip from division to multiplication. The 1/3 part stays the same because we don't flip the first fraction. We flip the second fraction. 6/1 becomes 1/6. Okay? And so now the third step is you multiply your numerator times your numerator and your denominator times your denominator. 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 1 is 1. And then 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 6 is 18. Notice this one is 8/1, whereas this one is 18/1, whereas this one is 1/18. And that makes sense because here we're separating a fraction which is already really small into 6 even parts. So it ends up being something even smaller, 1/18, or 1/18, or 1/18. Here we're taking a whole number and we're separating it into pieces that are smaller than 1. So we get a number even bigger because 18/1 means the same thing as 18. So when you divide a whole number by a fraction, you get an answer that's bigger than the whole number you started with. But when you divide a fraction by a whole number, you end up with an extra small fraction. Okay, and we're going to stop focusing on this way now. This was yesterday's lesson. We're going to start focusing just on the right side of this T-chart now, dividing unit fractions by whole numbers, because that's actually what today's lesson is about. But I just wanted you to see the two things done side by side, because often students will flip the wrong fraction. You just always flip whichever fraction comes second. Another way of saying that is you always flip the divisor. Okay, so let's do some more examples of dividing unit fractions by whole numbers. And remember, the unit part just means the numerator is 1. Let's do some more examples. Let's do 1/2 divided by 6. So step 1 is give the whole number a denominator of 1. Step 2 is flip or reverse the sign, reverse from division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. So 6/1 changes to 1/6. The first fraction stays the same. And now you multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 6 is 12. So 1/2 divided by 6 is 1/12. Let's do another example together. Let's say we have 1/7 divided by 2. Step 1, give the whole number a denominator of 1. Step 2, reverse the operation from division to multiplication and flip the second fraction. 2/1 becomes 1/2. The first fraction, the dividend, stays the same. And then you multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 7 times 2 is 14. The answer is 1/14. Next, let's do 1/4 divided by 4. Step 1 is give the whole number a denominator of 1. Step 2 is reverse the operation from division to multiplication and flip the second fraction from 4/1 to 1/4. The first fraction, or the dividend, stays the same. Then you multiply the numerator times the numerator and the denominator times the denominator. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16. 1/16 is the final answer. Let's do another example. I'm going to box this off here so it's separate from everything else. Let's do 1/9 divided by 2. Step 1 is give the whole number a denominator of 1. Step 2, reverse the operation from division to multiplication and flip the second fraction. Flip 2/1 to 1/2. The first fraction stays the same. 1 times 1 is 1. 9 times 2 is 18. 1/18 is the final answer. Okay, I'm going to give you some independent work now. I'd like you to independently do 1/5 divided by 2 and do 1/7 divided by 4. Go ahead and do both of those and then click on the video attached below this one to see if you did them correctly. I will see you there.